The morning began with the subtle dignity of a man arguing with his toaster. The traitorous machine launched his last slice of bread across the kitchen like it was ejecting a malfunctioning crew member, and he was still grumbling when the sky outside flickered. Just once, like a faulty street lamp the universe couldn't be bothered to fix. He stepped onto the balcony with the mug he'd reheated 3 times, only to watch reality wrinkle above his building. Not metaphorically. It folded, creased, and peeled open like someone unzipping a pocket of space. A ship emerged, sleek, luminous, shaped like a blade forged by someone with a flair for dramatic entrances. A gust of displaced gravity fluffed his hair in the wrong direction, which was somehow the part his brain protested most. Then she descended from the ramp, tall and graceful, looking almost human except for the long, elegant ears that tapered like silver-touched leaves. Her eyes glowed with shifting starfields, and she scanned the stunned street with all the casual confidence of someone searching for their rideshare pickup. When her gaze locked on him, he pointed at himself, then at the pizza delivery guy beside him, then back at himself again. She ignored the gesture entirely and approached, each step making the air hum faintly as if gravity itself were trying to impress her. "You," she announced, voice ringing with authority, "belong to me." He stared. "I? What? I don't even belong to my alarm clock. Ask anyone." Her expression softened only enough to imply she tolerated his existence. With a flick of her wrist, a holographic sphere spiraled upward and scanned him from shoes to hair. It chimed, a cheerful little melody far too upbeat for life-altering declarations, and projected an ancient seal pulsing in deep violet light. "See?" she said, as if unveiling a perfectly logical receipt. "The Pact recognizes you." He opened his mouth to protest, but a roar split the air behind her. A second ship tore through the clouds, this one far less elegant and shaped suspiciously like a spacefaring shoehorn. Warning lights blazed across its hull. Several individuals in bulky armor began leaping out, clearly not arriving to discuss peaceful treaties. She sighed. An annoyed, weary sound, like someone dealing with an overdue library fine that involved explosives. "They intend to capture or incinerate you. Both outcomes would be inconvenient. Inconvenient for me or for the Pact," she said, grabbing his wrist with surprising gentleness and surprising strength. "And therefore for me." Before he could object, joke, or panic, she pulled him toward the ramp of her ship. His coffee sloshed over his hand, the mug clattered to the street, and the armored enemies shouted something aggressively bureaucratic. He stumbled after her, breathless, heart pounding, and only one coherent thought looping in his mind. Worst Tuesday ever. The inside of her ship felt like stepping into the nervous system of a cosmic creature. Everything pulsed with soft light, shifting colors as if the walls were breathing. The doors sealed behind them with a satisfied hiss, the kind a cat might make after stealing someone else's chair. He braced himself on the nearest surface, which unfortunately turned out to be a control panel that chirped in offense and displayed a flashing message he suspected translated to "Please stop touching me." "Do not lean on the helm," she said, not even turning around. "It is sensitive." "So am I," he muttered, removing his hand. "But nobody gives me mood lighting." She moved with practiced ease, fingers gliding over controls that rearranged themselves to accommodate her touch. The ship rumbled, then shot upward so fast his stomach tried to file a complaint. He clutched the nearest handle, thankfully not a living panel this time, and tried not to make the embarrassing noise that nearly escaped his throat. When the shaking eased, he dared to breathe again. "Okay," he said. "So hi, I'm the guy who apparently belongs to you. Do we maybe want to discuss that before someone else tries to blast me into cosmic confetti?" She glanced at him, long ears twitching with what he hoped wasn't irritation. "You are linked to me by an ancient pact sealed generations ago. Until its purpose is fulfilled, you remain under my protection." "Right," he said. "And the people chasing us want to renegotiate that protection?" "They want you eliminated," she replied calmly. "It is the simplest way to nullify the pact." He blinked. I miss when my biggest problem was my toaster. The ship's AI suddenly spoke, voice crisp and judgmental. Statistics indicate human morning appliances are only the seventh most common source of stress in your species. Great, he said. The ship judges me too. It judges everyone, she said. Do not take it personally. He hesitated, then asked, so what exactly does this pact want from me? Do I have to fight something? Join a council? Feed a cosmic beast? I'm not great with pets. You are required merely to live, she said. Though ideally without constant peril. That part's not on me, he pointed out. I didn't invite the shoehorn of doom ship. Her lips twitched, a movement that might have been the smallest laugh in the galaxy. She walked toward him, her expression softening in a way that made the glowing patterns on the walls seem warmer. I know this is overwhelming, but I will not allow harm to come to you. He tried to relax, but the ship abruptly tilted sideways as something detonated outside. He toppled into her, flailing, while she steadied them both with irritating grace. Enemy vessel attempting to breach our trajectory, the AI droned. Perhaps if the human refrained from panicking. I'm not panicking, he snapped. I'm reacting dramatically. The ship dove into a tunnel of bending starlight, colors streaking past them like cosmic paint. His fear and her calm collided somewhere between them, leaving a strange, fragile trust forming in their wake. Whatever this pact wanted, whatever danger waited ahead, he sensed their fates were already tangled far more tightly than either of them expected. The star they approached wasn't merely a star. It was a vast, ancient consciousness suspended in molten light, its surface rippling with memories older than most galaxies. As the ship slowed, he pressed a hand to the window, awed and only slightly terrified that one wrong move might get them flash-fried into stardust. The alien woman stood beside him, her long ears tilted forward in reverence. For once, the ship's AI was silent, as if even it knew better than to sass a celestial elder. The origin of the pact is stored here, she said softly. The truth will determine what becomes of us both. Great. No pressure, he murmured. Just meeting a star with the power to judge my entire existence. It will not judge, she said. It will reveal. The ship released a beam of shimmering threads that wrapped around them, pulling them gently into a chamber carved from condensed light. A figure shaped from solar fire formed before them, humanoid, glowing, drifting between solid and luminous. He felt its warmth settle into his skin, not burning but as if greeting him with recognition. A voice filled the chamber, layered and majestic. You have finally returned, bearers of the pact. He cleared his throat. I would like to clarify that I returned accidentally, mostly by being kidnapped, politely kidnapped, but still. The star's laughter rippled like a small solar flare. The pact was never meant to bind one to another as property. It was meant to unite two lines, yours and hers, to restore balance where civilizations once fractured. She stepped closer, eyes widening as if a weight she'd carried her whole life had shifted. So he is not mine? Not in the way you believed, the star answered. You are partners meant to guard an alliance dormant for centuries. Together, you embody a promise of unity, not ownership. He felt warmth bloom in his chest, relief, certainly, but also something else that had been growing since the moment she dragged him onto her ship. A quiet trust, an attachment wrapped in humor, fear, and unlikely companionship. But why do they want me gone? He asked. Because your survival restores the pact, the star said, and with it the power to prevent war. So no pressure again, he muttered. A pulse of light washed over them, weaving the final strands of truth into their minds. The chamber dissolved, returning them to the ship's interior. The AI beeped with what suspiciously resembled awe. She turned to him, her voice gentler than he had ever heard. It seems our destinies are bound by choice, not force. He nodded slowly. Well, if we're partners now, do I get a say in where we go next? Because I vote for anywhere without people shooting at us. She smiled, faint but real. Agreed. though avoiding danger entirely may not suit our new purpose. Fantastic, he sighed. I join a cosmic alliance and still don't get a vacation. But he wasn't the man who had stood on his balcony only days before, clutching bad coffee and worse expectations. That man had been ordinary, quietly drifting. This man, shoved through space, confronted with ancient truths, and linked to someone who saw him as more than a cosmic accident, felt strangely ready for whatever came next. She extended her hand. Shall we begin our shared path? He took it without hesitation. Only if your ship stops judging me. The AI chimed. Unlikely. And as their ship leapt into the shimmering lanes of unknown galaxies, he realized he no longer feared the vastness ahead. He was no longer running from destiny, but moving with it, laughing, stumbling, learning, beside the woman who had once claimed him and now simply chose him.